Okay. Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Satoshi Nakamoto. Abstract. Apparently peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. The network timestamps transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest change not only serves as proof of the sequence of events witnessed, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. As long as a majority of CPU power is controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, they will generate the longest chain and outpace attackers. The network itself requires minimal structures. Message broadcasts on a best effort basis, and nodes can live and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work. Shin, Shin says proof of what happened while they were gone. Number one, introduction. Co- Commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, still suffers from the inherent weakness of the trust-based model. Completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible, since financial institutions cannot avoid medita- mediating dis- dispute. The cost of mediation increase transaction costs, limiting the minimum particle transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transaction. And there's a border cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments or non-reversible services. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust rates, merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. A certain percentage of fraud is accepted as unavoidable. These costs and payments uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currency, but no mechanism exists to make payments over a communications channel without a trusted party. What is needed an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this way, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate com computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attacker nodes.
Okay, T, that was wonderful reading. You are almost 13, and this is not easy. This is a big white paper. Wow. Congratulations. Okay. Clear? Okay. All right. If you're not shy, you can turn on your video. If not, if you are shy, that's okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now, what's it? It's that reading it aloud one time will give you maybe 10% to 30% comprehension right now of what it is. Okay. Okay.
So from what I have read, it turns
Say that
out
again.
like there's a ton of like the third parties or like the trading stuff that is like got cheated or like got scammed, something like that. Is it
I'm
not?
having a hard time understanding what you just said.
You know what? Let's just ignore that.
Right, just make sure that you're close. How's my sound right now? Good.
It's all right.
Okay, cool. All right. So when you're looking at this, it is one time through will be 10% to maybe 30% of understanding for you right now on this.
Mm-hmm.
When I read it aloud to you, that might go up a little bit more, right? And then when you get experience of coding, IT systems, and cryptocurrency life, all of this will start. Okay.
I cannot. Uh, can you repeat what you said again? It kind of the sounds kind of cut off.
Clear. Okay. So it means that what you're doing here is that it few times allow only a certain amount of understanding. Okay. And experience and systems, IT systems, everything will give you more as your life goes and when you read it again.
All right, clear.
Okay. And then each time you read it, kind of like reading the little print every few years in your life, teaches you more or you learn something different or you understand something different from it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is the first. Here we go. I'm reading transaction. Okay. We define transactions. We define an electronic coin as a chain of digital structures. Each owner transfers the coin to the next by digitally signing a hash of the previous transaction and the public key of the next owner and adding these to the end of the coin. A payee can verify the signatures to verify the chain of ownership, right? And so this is the flow chart that I explained to you a little bit before, right? Involving the signature process and the way that it creates chain. All right. Okay. The problem of the course is the payee can't verify that one of the owners did not double spend the coin. A common solution is to introduce a trusted central authority or mint that checks every transaction for double spending. After each transaction, the coin must be returned to the mint to issue a new coin, and only coins issued directly from the mint are trusted not to be double spent. The problem with the solution is that the fate of the entire money system depends on the company running the mint, with every transaction having to go through them, just like a bank. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Got it. All right. That's amazing. Okay. That is amazing. Okay. We need a way for the payee to know that the previous owners did not sign your transactions. For our purposes, the earliest transaction is the one that counts. So we don't care about later attempts to double spend. And that's where it's the chain, right? One is verified, all are verified. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Kind of. Yeah, we'll get into that more later. All right. The only way to confirm the absence of a transaction is to be aware of all transactions. The mint-based model, the mint was aware of all transactions and decided which arrived first. To accomplish this without a trusted party, transactions must be publicly announced. This sits on the order in which they were received. The payee needs proof that at the time of each transaction, the majority of nodes agreed that it was first received. It was the first received. Right, timestamp server. I'll start this out for you and just read 2 paragraphs of the next page, okay? And I'll help you out, okay?
Okay.
Like you're reading at the same time, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Timestamp server. The solution we propose begins with a timestamp server. A timestamp server works by taking a hash of a block of items to be timestamped and widely publishing the hash, such as in a newspaper or Usenet post 2-5. The timestamp proves that the data must have existed at the time, obviously, in order to get into the hash. Each timestamp includes the previous timestamp in its hash, forming a chain which with each additional timestamp reinforcing the ones before it, right? And that goes on and on and on. And that's basically what the miners are all doing right now, okay? Is that they're helping with all of these transactions, logging all of that, generate, helping all of around in the world. Okay, 2 paragraphs, go.
All right. Four. Number four. Proof of work. To implement a distributed timestamp server on a peer-to-peer basis, we will need to use a proof of work system similar to Adam back cache 6. Rather than newspaper or Usenet post. The proof of work involves scanning for a value that when hash shares with SHA dash 256, the hash begins with a number of 0 bits. The average work request is exponential in the number of 0 bits requires and can be modified by executing a single hash. For our time-stamped network, we implement the proof of work by increment by incrementing announced in the announced in the block until a value is found that gives the block's hash the required 0 bits. Once the CPU effort has been expended to make it satisfy the proof of work, the block cannot be changed without redoing the work. As later the blocks are changed after it, the work change the block would include redoing all the blocks after it.
Okay, very nice.
Continue.
Quick here, just to help you out with just reading it. I know that it might be right now. And that's all right. So I guess a couple of the main points is that the keyword is the timestamp, you know? So it's like throwing a bunch of sand up in the air and then taking a picture of it. And then everybody in the world took a picture of it at the same time. And then all of that is tracked and logged. Good?
Uh-huh. Clear.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the other thing that you should know here, right? And a nonce is a single-use token. If you look at it from like a coding perspective, it's that it goes through the loop, and then in order to verify everything, it has to use a one-time usage token, right? And then that makes everything verified, and that's called the proof of work. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Don't need to understand it all right now. All right. Okay. Here we go. The proof of work also solves the problem of determining representation in majority decision making. If the majority were based on the one IP address, one vote, it could be subverted by anyone able to allocate many IPs. Proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote. The majority decision is by the longest chain, which has the greatest proof of work effort invested in it. If the majority of CPU power is controlled by honest nodes, the honest chain will grow and the fastest and outpace any competing chains. To modify a past block, an attacker would have to redo the proof of work of the block and all the blocks after it and catch up with it and surpass the work of the honest nodes. We will show later how that the probability of a slower attacker catching up diminishes exponentially as subsequent blocks are added. To compensate for increasing hardware speed and varying interest in running nodes over time, the proof of work difficulty is determined by a moving average targeting an average number of blocks per hour. If they're generated too fast, difficulty increases. When you start doing more coding problems, you'll understand this more. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. All right. Work. Go ahead. Go through the bullet points for me, and then network and notes.
Right, number five, network. The steps to run the networks are as follow. Number one, new transactions are broadcast to all nodes. Number two, each node collects new transactions to a block. Number three, each node works on finding a difficult proof of work for its block. Number four, when a node finds a proof of work, broadcast the block to all nodes. Number five, nodes accept the block only if all transactions in it are valid and not already spent. Number six, nodes express their acceptance of the block by working on creating the next block in the chains, using the hash of the accepted block as the previous hash.
All right.
Nodes
Time out.
okay.
All right. Time out here real quick. I have. You happen to know why everything is in simple present tense right here?
Oh, pardon. The sounds cut out. Hello?
Yep. I'll say it again. Do you happen to know why all the steps are in simple present tense?
Simple present tense. Uh, it's present.
It's present. Let me help. It's because he's explaining Satoshi Nakamoto is explaining a process right now.
Oh,
So it's where this machine does that. New transactions are broadcast. Each node collects. Each line node accepts.
hello?
Hello? Did you get that? No?
Can you repeat what you said again?
Pass. All right. It's okay. You can review the video. Okay. All right. So it's like in a quick review, it's that it's a process. Right? And that's when you explain a process, you use simple present. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And then the other part here is going to be where we have by creating. Those would be tense, yes?
Huh?
Verb plus ing. Got it?
Uh,
So it goes their acceptance of the block by verb plus ing and create. Okay.
uh-huh. Okay.
All right. Cool. And then over here, they change it to accepted block not accepted. Got it?
Pardon?
They change it to accepted block because it has to be the block accepted.
Okay, got it.
And then if it was changed, right? If it was changed to accepting block, it would all not work. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Last paragraph. Go ahead.
Okay. Notes always consider the longest chain to be the correct one, and we'll keep working on extending it. If two notes broadcast different versions of the next block simultaneously,
Remember, it's my job to help you with words you are not sure about how to pronounce. Okay.
simu-
Simultaneous.
simultaneously, simultaneously. Some nodes can may receive one or the other first. In that case, they work on the first one they receive, but save the other branch in case it becomes longer. The tie will be broken when the next group of work is found and one branch becomes longer. The nodes that were working on the other branch will then switch to the long one.
Okay, good. All right. So we're practicing reading aloud. Okay, here we go. I'm trying to go fast now. New transaction broadcasts do not necessarily need to reach all nodes. As long as they reach many nodes, they will get into a block before long. Block broadcasts are also tolerant of dropped messages. If a node does not receive a block, it will request it when it receives the next block and realizes it missed one. Incentive. By convention, the first transaction in a block is a special transaction that starts a new coin owned by the creator of the block. This adds an incentive for nodes to support the network and provides a way to initially distribute coins into circulation, since there is no central authority to issue them. The steady addition of a constant amount of new coins is analogous to gold miners expending resources to add gold to the circulation. In our case, it is CPU time and electricity that is expended. That's a key metaphor and analogy, okay? All right, I'll explain it very quickly. if you are looking for gold, then you have to spend money, energy, time to get it, right?
Yes.
And you also have to do the same to sell it. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So it's the same for Bitcoin, where it's CPU time and electricity to do that.
Uh-huh.
All right. The incentive can also be funded with transaction fees. If the output value of a transaction is less than its input value, the difference is a transaction fee that is added to the incentive value of the block containing the transaction. Once a predetermined number of coins have entered circulation, the incentive can transition entirely to transaction fees and be completely inflation-free. The incentive, I like this part, that one was nice. The incentive may encourage nodes to stay honest. If a greedy attacker is able to assemble more CPU power than all the honest nodes, he would have to choose between using it to defraud people by stealing back his payments or using it to generate new coins. He ought to find it more profitable to play by the rules, such rules that favor him with more new coins than everybody else combined, than to undermine the system and validity of his own wealth, right? So the system, in a simple sense, right, is that it costs more to attack it and defraud it than to earn from it in the right way.
I see.
It's pretty clean. It's beautiful, really, right? Like, how pretty it is. It makes me think of how.
One question. This is this about like the Bitcoin miner?
Say what?
Is this like the Bitcoin miner?
Oh, I thought you describe a Bitcoin miner. Okay, this is a Bitcoin miner playing by the rules of the system. Yes.
Okay, I see now. Continue.
Yep. And then I guess the opposite of a Bitcoin miner, a Bitcoin hacker, right? But then they would have to have more CPU power than in order to be able to win effectively.
Your sounds keep cutting off.
My sound keeps coming in and out. Okay, all right, hold on. I think okay, testing 1 2, testing 1 2, reconnecting, reconnecting.
Testing 1 2 1 2.
Okay, I'm hoping my sound improves now. Okay, I went off the Wi-Fi. Okay, all right, we're going back, dude. All right, we're almost done. It's like 3 more pages and then we're done.
Okay.
Once the latest transaction is carried under blocks, popcorn, tea.
Okay. To spend transaction before it can be discarded to save this place. To facilitate this without breaking the block hash, transactions transactions are hashed in the Merkle tree. Merkle tree 725 with only the roots included in the block hash. Both blocks can then be compacted by stubbing of branches of the tree. The interior hashes do not need to be stored upon.
That's pretty cool. I like that system. Again, for one coding problem where it involves a little cute little monster that has a magical bag, and the magical bag has a number of candies in it. And then when the little creature goes on different levels of the dungeon, the bag decreases in half, right? And so the number of candies decreases in half. And so there's a way for you to write an algorithm that calculates that for you, but it's that to make the program efficient, you have to choose certain parts of the information and data set to use correctly, right? And this is connected to that, which is pretty cool, right? Which makes it somewhat efficient. It's also one of the reasons why there are so many types of crypto, because there are programmers and people trying to make this more and more efficient. Okay, it's
Okay.
big, but got it. I think you got it. Okay, all right. Connection. All right. Popcorn me. A block header with no transactions would be about 80 bytes. If we suppose blocks are generated every 10 minutes, 80 bytes times 6 times 24 times 365 equals 4.2 megabytes per year. With computer systems typically selling with 2 gigabytes of RAM as of 2008. All right, that was 13 years ago, 14 years ago now. I will be getting a computer with 1 terabyte. Yes. Okay. All right. That's 500 times this. That's interesting. Okay. And Moore's law predicting current growth of 1.2 gigabyte per year. Storage should not be a problem even if the block headers must be kept in memory. Storage is definitely not a problem. All right, popcorn tea.
Okay, simplify payments verification. It is possible to verify payments without running a full network node. A user only needs to keep a copy of the block headers of the longest proof of work chain, which he can get current network nodes until he has the longest chain and obtain the Merkle branch, linking the transaction to the block it time spent in. He can check the transaction for link for himself, but by linking it to a place in the chain, he can see that the network has accepted it, and blocks added after it further confirm the network has accepted it. Popcorn Paul.
Okay. As such, the verification is reliable as long as honest nodes control the network, but is more vulnerable if the network is overpowered by an attacker. While the network nodes can verify transactions for themselves, a simplified method can be fooled by an attacker's fabricated transactions for as long as the attacker can continue to overpower the network. One strategy to protect against this would be to accept alerts from the network nodes when they detect an invalid block, prompting the user software to download the full block and alerted transactions to confirm the inconsistency. Businesses that receive frequent payments will probably still want to run their own nodes for more independent security and quicker verification. Combining and splitting value. Although it would be impossible to handle coins individually, it would be unwieldy to make a separate transaction for every cent in a transfer. To allow value to be split and combined, transactions contain multiple inputs and outputs. Normally, there would be either a single input from a larger previous transaction or multiple inputs combining smaller amounts, and at most 2 outputs, one for the payment and one for returning the change and any back to the sender. It should be noted that fan out, where a transaction depends on several transactions, and those transactions depend on many more, is not a problem here. There's never a need to extract a complete standalone copy of a transaction's history. Popcorn tea.
10. Privacy. The traditional banking model achieve a level of privacy by limiting access to information to the parties involved and trusted third party. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. The necessity to announce our transaction publicly preclude, precludes this method, but privacy can still be maintained by breaking the flow of information in another place. By keeping the public keys anonymous, the public can see that someone is sending an amount to someone else, but without information linking the transaction to anyone. This is similar to the level of information released by stock exchanges, where the time and size of individual trades, the quote-unquote tape, is made public, but without telling who the parties were. As an additional firewall, a new key pairs should be used for each transaction to keep them from being linked to a common owner. Some linking is still unavoidable with the multi-input transaction, which necessarily reveal that their inputs were owned by the same owner. The risk is that if the owner of the key is revealed, linking could reveal other transactions that belong to the same owner. Popcorn pal.
Good rate. Getting better, actually. All right, nice. Okay, one small point here, right, is that what they're talking about inside of there is, I'll give you a real life example of it on the Ethereum network chain, right, of CryptoPunks. And then go ahead and pick a number between 1 and 12. No, wait. Go ahead and pick a number between these 12 right here.
What they do? Oh wait, 1, 2, 12.
1, 2, 12. No, here.
Oh, I will choose the power one and the third one.
Say
Hello?
again. Say again.
The number 3, I guess. Number 3. Yeah, that one.
Okay. All right. So On the PDF, or no, on the white paper, they were talking about the individual transaction between parties, right? I know that's a little bit confusing. It's actually where the public can see it, but they post the transaction. Does that make sense? Kind of, sort of, a little bit?
Hello? Can you repeat it again? The sound's cut off.
Yes, it's okay. It's that all of this here is public information, okay? And this paragraph here, right, where the public can see that someone is sending an amount to someone else, right? And these,
Alright, there we go.
okay, cool. All right, moving on into calculations here, almost done. We got like a few paragraphs left, and then I'll say it once and I'll say it again later. If somebody ever asks you, did you read the Bitcoin white paper? You can now say yes, okay?
Okay.
Cool. Calculations. We consider the scenario of an attacker trying to generate an alternative chain faster than the honest chain. Even if this is accomplished, it does not throw the system open to arbitrary changes, such as creating value out of thin air or taking money that never belonged to the attacker. Nodes are not going to accept an invalidated transaction as payment, and honest nodes will never accept a block containing them. An attacker can only try to change one of his own transactions to take back money he recently spent. The race between the honest chain and an attacker chain can be characterized as a binomial random walk. The successive event, I have to look that up later. The success event is the honest chain being extended by one block, increasing its lead by 1+1. The failure event is that the attacker chain is being extended by one block, reducing the gap by -1. The probability of an attacker catching up from a given deficit is analogous to a gambler's ruin problem. Suppose a gambler with unlimited credit starts at a deficit, plays potentially an infinite number of trials to try to reach break even. We can calculate the probability he ever reaches break even, and that an attacker ever catches up with the honest chain as follows. Ooh, do you understand this?
Kind
Excellent.
of.
It's okay. Yeah. Like the concept here is that one of the ways that they track the probability is that they imagine someone who's gambling and he has unlimited credit and he starts at a loss and he can play an infinite number of times. This that get him to break even. But I think the rest of all right, here we go. I'll read this stuff for you very quickly. This is the math part. And then we go into the conclusion, okay?
Okay.
Let's do popcorn very quick in short pieces, all right? Given our assumption that P is greater than Q, popcorn,
Probability of the expedition is the number of blocks the attacker has to catch up with increases popcorn.
with the odds against him, if he doesn't make a lucky lunge forward early on, his chances become vanishingly popcorn.
Small as he falls further behind. We now consider how long the popcorn.
The recipient of a new transaction needs to wait before being sufficiently certain to certain change the transaction. If the sender is an attacker, popcorn.
Hello?
We assume the sender is an attacker, popcorn.
Who wants to make the recipient believe he paid him for a while popcorn?
Then switch it back to himself after has passed. The receiver will be alerted when that happens, but the sender hopes it will be too late. The receiver generates a new.
And give the. Oh, wait.
This prevents the sender popcorn.
Wait, I'm kind of confused. Okay, I see. From preparing a chain of blocks ahead of time by working on it continuously until he is lucky enough to get far enough ahead, then executing popcorn.
Transaction at that moment. Once the transaction is set, the dishonest sender starts working in secret on a parallel chain containing an alternative version of this transaction. The receiver waits until and Z blocks have been linked after it. He does not know the exact amount of progress the attacker has made, but assuming the honest blocks took the average vector time, potential progress would be a poison distribution with value. Popcorn delta something equals you.
What did you say? I saw your mouth moving, but the sound's cut out.
Get
So I just continued to get the probability.
yep.
Okay, to get the probability, the attacker could still catch up. Now we multiply the poison density for each amount of progress he could have made by the probability he could catch up at that point. Funny numbers.
Right, yeah. I'm just gonna say real quick one thing I like about page 7 in the top half here. The thing that I really that he says the way to break it and the way to hack this as well as part of the white paper, which is pretty cool. I think an interesting concept would be that anything that you write that is proposing something, then you show the best way to break it, and your solution is already there. Got it?
Got it.
Yeah, pretty gangster. Okay, all right. Wrapping this up now, but we're gonna skip.
Funny code.
It is very cool. You can analyze it later. Code here. Okay, very cool. Okay, all right. And then here, this would be some parts of the test. Running some tests, running some results. We can see the probability goes here is that the chance. What is the chance? The chance that the attacker will be able to break this chain. Does that yeah. So it's saying that like as Z increases, right? As Z increases of transition, that the chance that this guy can hack it goes down to like this percentage. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is pretty awesome. I'm not going into depth later, right? But it does say P is less. If you start working in lots of corporate companies, it's going to be able in lots of university programs. But don't worry, 10 years from now for you. Okay. Yeah. But have lots of. Okay. All right. Finishing up the conclusion. I'm going to read it for you, and then we're done. This one here is all of his references. Puts 8 references on here. Bibliography. It's more the references. Okay. Reading the conclusion to you now. Okay. Is this. Name again real fast is Satoshi Nakamoto, I think is the fake name, right? Nakamoto. Yes, Nakamoto. Well, conclusion. We have proposed a system for electronic transactions without relying on trust. We started with provides strong control of ownership, but is incomplete without a way to prevent double spend. To solve this, we proposed a peer-to-peer network that quickly becomes computationally impractical for an attacker to change if honest nodes control a majority of CPU. That changes if the corrupted nodes controlling a majority of CPU power. Okay. The network is robust in its unstructured simplicity. Nodes work all at once with little coordination. They do not need to be identified since messages are not routed to any particular place. And node leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. They vote with their power, sending them and rejecting invalid blocks by refusing to work on them. Any needed rules and incentives right? And that would be that last sentence that starts to connect to everything that you know about NFTs. Okay. NFT transactions. Now, would you say that you understand more about all of this
I will say I understand like more than before.
More than before is good. That's what we're going for. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
I'll just point out a couple of key things to understand from this, right? One of the first things you should understand is that it's code and it's verifying transaction. So, right? You got that already. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Two is that there's a white paper and it was written in Bitcoin. You read it.
Nick. Okay, give me a second. Neck. 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 Uh, Nakamoto,
Satoshi Nakamoto. Yeah,
which is not the real name.
which is a pseudonym. Yes, it's a. Some people said another one. Some people are claiming it. It's yeah, it's funny. Okay, cool. Number 3 point, right? Number 3 point. It's the outline with which whole document created. It was created by a very, 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 very strong mind. Okay, and what I receive from it is flow, right? And some of the key flow points I see from it is that it goes with boom, abstract, production. What is the key mechanism that's most important to the reader? And then how is it going to work? And then how is it going to work continued? And what is the network? And then after that, what's good about the benefit? 7, how it can it be efficient in terms of coding? 8, the payment verification. B, what happens if you split it? Who can see it? 11, how is it going to work on the math side? Right?
And
And then
shit.
inside the math side is it almost impossible? Okay.
Okay.
And then into the conclusion, the organization is like really cool. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for confirmation. I appreciate it. All right. Okay.
Your sound's cutting out right now.
Huh?
Your sound's cut out like 5 seconds ago. Don't worry, it's 5 seconds ago, not like 1 minute straight.
Okay. We're not at the point now where sound can be perfect, and that's all right. We'll get there eventually. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you later. I will see you. I'll give you a long break because that was hard. Okay. I'll message you in a little bit.
All right then. So,
Well,
okay, so see you in the next few minutes.
12 minutes, 11 minutes, 11 minutes.
Okay.